In the last video, we saw the Valiants polish off Portsmouth with a decisive 3-0 victory on September the 14th. 3 days later, however, Charlton faced their toughest challenge of the season so far, at home to recently relegated Sunderland. Our commentator at Upton Park, Steve Dixon, takes up the story.
In goal for Charlton, as always, Bob Boulder tonight making his 401st League and Cup appearance. At 2, Darren Pitcher. At 3, Steve Gritt in place of hamstring injury victim Scott Minto. 4 is Andy Peake. 5, Simon Webster. 6, Steve Gatting. Robert Lee at 7. Paul Bacon at 8. Carl Leaburn at 9. Gary Nelson at 10. And number 11, Colin Walsh. The 2 substitutes for Charlton. 12 is Alex Dyer and 14 is Anthony Barness. Looking now at the Sunderland side, in goal, Welsh international Tony Norman. 2 is John Kay. 3, Paul Hardyman. 4 is Gary Bennett. 5, Kevin Ball. Gary Owers at 6. Paul Bracewell at 7. Peter Davenport, once of Nottingham Forest and Manchester United, he's at 8. Gordon Armstrong at 9. Marco Gabbiadini at 10. Colin Pascoe at 11. The Sunderland substitutes, Thomas Hauser is 12 and 14 is worn by Richard Ord. Referee Terry Holbrook checks with his 2 linesmen. Just ushers Carl Leaburn back into the Charlton half, and we're underway here at Upton Park. And here's Gabbiadini, the first touch. John Kay, formerly of Wimbledon. Gabbiadini the flick on, and Steve Gritt hooks that ball downfield. And Kay will let that ball run out into touch. Hooks forward by Peake, up towards Leaburn. Once again, Bennett's there. Here's John Kay now, and Bennett once again. But Paul Bacon steps in for Charlton and plays in Leaburn. And now Leaburn away on the left-hand side for Charlton. John Kay goes to him. Leaburn's got Walsh backing him up. The shot for Andy Peake. The shot comes in and it's just over the bar. That's the first chance of the match for Charlton on 4 minutes. Colin Walsh will take the corner for Charlton. Flick on, Leaburn gets up, chance coming in possibly, Leaburn again with the header, but Norman gathers the ball and the danger passes. Norman, that's a very strange goal kick from Tony Norman. And that might really have been the most embarrassing moment for Tony Norman, because as Colin Walsh returned the ball, had he been able to get a firm contact on that, then Charlton might have been in front with one of the most bizarre goals of the season. Gabbiadini holding off Gatting and doing well. Tackle from Peake. Ball falls to Owers, gets the cross in. Boulder well held, and now Robert Lee with a chance to break for Charlton. Robert Lee making the ground on the right hand side. Hardyman goes across, Bracewell goes across to back him up. Driven in towards Leaburn. Leaburn for Nelson, and now out to Colin Walsh, and now Leaburn calling far side. Cross in for Walsh. It's going to go. Leaburn gets a flick down. Nelson with the half volley. Didn't quite get hold of it. Armstrong, good layoff to Pascoe. And now Armstrong again. This is Davenport, left-hand side for Sunderland. The cross coming in towards Gabbiadini. Gabbiadini's got a chance to get the cross in. Gatting and Webster between them get the ball away. And Robert Lee completes the clearance, but only as far as Paul Bracewell, former England midfield player. Cross coming in with a chance for Pascoe, and the referee has given a penalty against, I think, Simon Webster for the foul on Colin Pascoe, and that looked to be very harsh indeed. But referee Terry Holbrook is having none of the protests from Colin Walsh and Andy Peake. There it is. Sunderland go in front. Gary Owers the scorer. 12 minutes gone. Andy Peake to take the Charlton corner. Swings it in right-footed, far post. Webster's coming up. There it is. Yes, there it is. Simon Webster with the equaliser. And Charlton are back in the game after just 2 minutes of being behind. And Simon Webster claims his second goal for Charlton in a fortnight. Here's Gabbiadini now for Sunderland. Steps away from Andy Peake and from Simon Webster, and almost goes all the way. The chance coming in, the shot coming in, off the bar from Colin Pascoe. Gatting's got to be quick here, and indeed was. Leaburn, what a lovely header by Leaburn, finds Nelson. But now Bacon almost got in. Webster, what a great ball by Simon Webster, and now Robert Lee was faced on the far side. Charlton with 3 players up. Robert Lee going on his own. The shot coming in, just wide for Robert Lee. Walsh will swing this in, looking for possibly Webster or Leaburn at the far post. And indeed it is Leaburn. The header from Leaburn, a save from Tony Norman, and a good save it was as well. And it needed to be, as Carl Leaburn got up and headed the ball down. It was going for the far corner, but Norman got down well to save. Kevin Ball for Sunderland, forward for Davenport. The layoff is a good one to Pascoe. Pascoe now taking on Webster, possibly going to get the shot in. Gabbiadini's going through the middle. Gabbiadini goes over. The ball comes out the far side. The cross comes in. The header comes in off the bar. Against Boulder saves, but there it is. It's there from Gabbiadini, and Sunderland are back in front within seconds of the second half starting. The first header from Armstrong back off the bar. Gabbiadini followed up. He needed 2 bites at it, but 2 bites was good enough. And Sunderland are back in front, and what a blow for Charlton, just as I was saying how nice it would be if we could pick up a victory this evening. But Gabbiadini demonstrating there just exactly why people are queuing up to pay in excess of £1 million for his services. Razor sharp in the penalty area. And now a chance at the far post for Colin Walsh. But Tony Norman down very well indeed, making a fine save at Colin Walsh's feet. Tony Norman, Welsh international goalkeeper and one of the best goalkeepers outside the First Division. Recall the playoff final at Wembley, in which Sunderland of course lost before getting a place in the First Division after Swindon had been demoted, and Norman saved at least 6 or 7 certain goals. And had Norman not been in goal for Sunderland that day, they'd have lost by a lot more. And here's Gabbiadini, and Gabbiadini makes it 3-1 for Sunderland. Marco Gabbiadini, second goal inside 4 minutes. And that is why he is rated at £2 million. And I've no doubt that Graham Souness, watching in the stands here this evening, will have looked at that and been very impressed, because Gabbiadini got clear on the left-hand side. He drew Bob Boulder and slipped the ball neatly underneath him to make it 3-1 to Sunderland, and now Charlton really have got a battle on their hands. What can Charlton do to get back in the game? Leaburn, the layoff, Peake, the drive, fallen quite comfortably for Colin Walsh. The cross comes in just ahead of Carl Leaburn. Charlton fans claim that Leaburn might have been held off there by Kevin Ball. Referee Holbrook having none of it. Webster a free header. Peake the flick on. Nelson almost got in ahead of Kevin Ball, but Gary Bennett was there quickly. And if Sunderland are going to play for time for the next 40 minutes, it's going to make for a very dull second half, but they can well afford to, with a 2-goal lead here at Upton Park. Here's Pascoe. Armstrong, cross to Owers, far post. Gabbiadini looking for a third. Gabbiadini, the hat-trick for Sunderland. The hat-trick for Sunderland in 6 minutes. Marco Gabbiadini, clinical finishing. That just about wraps it up for the visitors. But with finishing like that, you can't really complain. Leaburn, lovely touch for Robert Lee. Robert Lee running at the Sunderland defence. He's got Colin Walsh left-hand side. Walsh steps inside. The shot comes in. Can't have been that far away from Colin Walsh. Gatting driven downfield. Gatting again. Looking for Lee. Lee with the header. Lee getting it in there for Lee with a chance. Oh, against the post. Robert Lee, so unfortunate. And Robert Lee turns and looks at the referee. But the referee played on, although the challenge from Hardyman looked rather illegal. Here's Pascoe now. In towards Gabbiadini. Tackle from Gatting was a fair one. Now here's Lee. Lee withstands the challenge from Gabbiadini. He's got Walsh in space on the left-hand side. Barness overlapping. Here is Barness. Had to check back from the pass from Walsh. Runs away from Owers. Walsh steps in. Walsh gets the cross in. Just too far in front of Gary Nelson and too close to Tony Norman. And Charlton's crossing hasn't been up to the quality tonight that it has been earlier in the season. And that may be where they've lacked this evening, because Tony Norman's been dominant in the air, and anything he's missed, the two central defenders have collected quite comfortably. But here's Gary Nelson. Can he trouble them? Long-range effort blocked by John Kay. Nelson again trying to turn. Chance for Andy Peake. The drive. Good save from Tony Norman. Leaburn was offside anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. But the referee quite happy to let the play flow, as indeed he should. But a demonstration there by Tony Norman of what a good keeper he in fact is. Gatting wins the header. Barness. And now Walsh. Bracewell. Beaten by Peake. And Darren Pitcher overlapping on the right hand side. In towards Robert Lee. Darren Pitcher goes again. Had to check. Good ball for Bacon. Bacon hustled off it by Ball, but that'll be a foul. Now Pitcher with time to get the cross in. What's he going to do? Darren Pitcher taking on Hardyman. Going to the byline. He's got Bacon there with him. Bacon needs to get the ball in early. He does get the ball in early. Robert Lee, the turn. Oh, unlucky. Now Nelson, man on. Nelson slips the challenge of Gary Bennett. And now Gary Nelson running on towards Ball. What can he do? Steps inside. The shot, Leaburn. It gets the post. And it isn't going to be Charlton's night here at Upton Park. It just isn't running for them. Gabbiadini with the header on. Davenport will get there first. Webster goes to close him down. Back to Gabbiadini. Turning away from Darren Pitcher. And from Webster. And now Pascoe takes over. And now for Davenport. Left-hand side. Taking on Pitcher. Trying to get the cross in. All well saved by Bob Boulder. The one-handed save from Boulder after that shot from Davenport had taken a deflection. Peake in towards Leaburn. Leaburn the flick down for Robert Lee. Away by Ball. Pitcher with the cross. Norman comes a long way from his goal. Leaburn gets the header on. Bennett out for a throw. And that's possibly the first time that Tony Norman's made a mistake all evening. He didn't really need to come for that. Plenty of possession, Charlton, particularly in and around Sunderland area, but they haven't really been able to penetrate the Roker Park rear guard. And here comes Davenport on the left-hand side, takes on Webster. Davenport across the face of the goal! And so close to a fifth for Sunderland. Charlton throwing players forward once again. Everybody barring Boulder in the Sunderland half. What can Nelson do with this? Hooks it back across the face of the goal. Robert Lee with Webster in support. Lee's going to try and turn. Turns away from one and from the other. Webster back to Lee now. Lee running at the Sunderland defence. Got to get the cross in early. Here's Dyer. Webster will hook the ball back in. Across the face of the goal. And Nelson again goes close for Charlton. The header just wide of the goal. The 90 minutes are up here at Upton Park. It simply remains for Terry Holbrook to play out whatever time he's got on his watch. Carl Leaburn was down for a moment or two in the early moments of the second half. But there it is here at Upton Park this evening. Sunderland will take the points back to the northeast. Charlton, the performance certainly wasn't a bad one. Certainly they were not 3 goals worse than their visitors. But The finishing of Marco Gabbiadini was the telling factor to leave the final score here at Upton Park. Charlton Athletic 1, Sunderland 4.
The following day, it was revealed by Sunderland boss Dennis Smith that he had very nearly dropped Marco Gabbiadini from the lineup against Charlton. Whilst Charlton fans may not have appreciated Gabby's hat-trick, the Sunderland striker certainly impressed the powers that be at Crystal Palace. Shortly after Marco's glittering performance at Upton Park, he was snapped up by Palace in a £1.8 million transfer deal.